and welcome to the SemiWoke podcast.
Thanks for coming by. This is a podcast where Sharia, a POC queer comedian.
Don't call me a POC.
Whatever. What's the term that you want?
I'm a black bitch.
I guess it's N-word then.
I'm black.
No, kidding.
I honestly prefer it.
I know you would. Only Sam can say that though. He's the only one in here with the coveted N-word pass.
I know. We just keep passing it around.
Can I borrow your N-word pass? I want to go to the beach this weekend. Can I borrow your N-word pass? Hey, got some cousins in town.
I'm watching a women's basketball tournament. I really need that N-word pass. I'm gonna really need it.
This is a SemiWoke podcast where Sharia, a woke comedian of color, queer comedian of color.
I'm a black queer woman.
Okay, well listen. You never know these days.
Why you try to call me a BIPOC podcaster?
BIPOC Shakur.
Of darker hues.
Something like that, you know? I'm just trying to be as sensitive towards you and your needs.
It's good. If I were mixed race, I'd
And
really
then there's
appreciate
me, a camel jug. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, no.
I didn't finish it.
Okay.
But I could say it if I wanted
That's
to.
That's right. That's yours.
Yeah, that's mine. I mean, technically, and I have a joke about this, that
it's actually white people.
Indian racial slurs, they don't really exist, you know, because we just get all the Arab racial slurs, and those aren't even Arab racial slurs. Those are just racial slurs for black people with the word sand added to it. You know? It's just lazy and pathetic.
That's true.
Anyway, welcome to the SemiWoke podcast. It's a podcast where Sharia teaches me, Pranav, one woke concept a week in an effort to turn me gay. And is it still that?
No.
Because you've been shifting the goalposts a lot lately.
It's changing. Now you must magically transform into used gun oil.
A gun oil.
Used gun oil dripping out of a gay porn star's ass.
Okay. Oh, my God.
It has to be that. It has to be that.
Wow. I'm going to start off with a prayer for this episode. Oh, wait. God, please don't let that happen. Ever. For whatever sins I've committed karmically. I don't think that's the karmic upshot for me, please.
Really?
Please, God.
I think it's literally a karmic upshot.
Please,
I
God.
think
It's a down shot.
I think
it's a karmic cum shot.
You becoming a lubed up pussy is actually the greatest. I think that's when you know you've reached
God,
nirvana.
everything she's saying, the opposite. And thus concludes the prayer.
Oh, wait, this is the first queer straight collaboration.
Since J. Edgar Hoover and Robert F. Kennedy. What?
We don't really claim J. Edgar Hoover.
Well, whether you claim him or not, he claims y'all.
No, he does not. No, we're doing that again.
Yeah, he truly does.
No, this is the first queer straight collaboration since Whitney and Mariah. Remember?
I obviously don't.
You will when you.
Oh, now I do.
Believe.
I don't.
The Prince of Egypt.
Whitney and Mariah. Wow, how did they neither? I guess Mariah was young enough that she couldn't be too much of a diva towards Whitney.
Well, that was the whole joke, that they would be divas toward each other. And do you not remember at the VMAs, they came out in the same dress and then they ripped off parts of the dress? Try it on me. These are iconic queer millennial moments, like pop culture moments that that live in our hearts. The gay oldies. They lives in our hearts.
Yeah, I see none of these references.
Do you not remember the VMAs when they came in the brown dress?
No, of course not. My references are like, this is like ZZ Top covered Leonard Skinner. You know? ZZ Top, not ZZ Bottom, okay?
Work though. Wait, I love ZZ Bottom as like.
Well, you know what? There was a queer comedian once who has like a really long beard, and one time I was roasting an audience at like an open mic, and I was like, "I'm looking at you, ZZ Bottom." That was, you know. I don't know why I had to do that. He's a nice guy. His name's Gary Hannon.
Is he a bottom?
I don't know. I would.
Well.
I don't know all the terms and stuff.
You should literally DM him right now and ask him if he's a bottom. And then
hey, I know we're not even friends on this platform, and I haven't even added you, but I am going to DM you this question.
He's definitely going to think you're trying to fuck.
I believe he's married.
Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah. Well, shouts to his husband. I bet you could fight his husband.
He's like a really nice person.
Yeah.
I could fight his husband?
I think you could fight his husband.
Well, I have been taking gay ties.
You have. You know where the weak spots are.
Yeah, I'm out here elbowing queers on the daily.
That's right. You know when they're about to hit a death drop.
Wait, what is a death drop?
You know what a death drop is? It's when you ever see when drag queens, usually drag queens are like ballroom, if you're like voguing in ballroom.
See, this is like your MMA.
No, we've established what my MMA is. It's K-pop.
Okay, K-pop.
It's my problematic fave.
There's like moves that you're talking about.
So like the death drop, it's a classic move. It's like when you you splat out onto the floor.
Oh, is it dramatically dying?
Yeah,
passing
kind
out?
of.
Like a fainting couch would be involved.
But you're jumping into the air onto the floor into like a pose that you would only get if you were in a car accident. Like it's extremely difficult to do on purpose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't know there were moves.
Yeah,
we should. I mean, I guess. Yeah.
I've told you duck walk. I told you.
You have told me duck walk. What is duck walking again?
Remember when you were getting changed?
Okay.
And remember when we were doing the makeover montage?
You were doing the makeover montage. I was like, I need to find a shirt, and you started putting on some like queer anthem.
I put on Jill Sobule. I want to be a supermodel.
Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck is she doing out there?
Which is the song for one of the greatest.
Yeah, and then you came in, you barged into my room, and you're like, bitch, this. And you picked up this t-shirt, undersized t-shirt with a monkey's face. 100%. And my girlfriend's pajama bottoms.
Yes.
And you're like, wear this. And I was like, that is literally my girlfriend's pajamas.
It was cute.
It's not even like her sexy pajamas. It's like her, this is how younger.
It would have been a look. It would have been a look. And I stand by that.
It would have been a demented look. It would have been like a mental hospital look.
It would have been a slay. I'll stand on that. And then we put on CoverGirl and we both duck walked down the hall.
You duck walk.
No, we both hit the duck walk. You was walking that duck, bitch. She was doing it. I saw it. It was a clean walk, clean duck walk, Anitra. I'm kidding. I have no.
I do a gun walk. That's a Lil Wayne song.
Is that a Lil Wayne song?
It's probably my favorite Lil Wayne song.
Really?
Yeah, ho. I'm strapped up and would fuck up.
I'm strapped up. That's
See me walking with a limp. That's my gun walk.
This is great because
and I don't argue or let the gun talk.
That should be a stud anthem. That should be a stud anthem.
Yeah, ho. I'm strapped up.
Yes.
That's
I
my
love
gun.
that you say and would.
Yeah, I get to. I want to sing it.
Yeah, but you're doing it with like a little accent.
Yeah.
You're adding an accent.
I'm strapped up. N-word.
Yes.
We're in this right now. We're in the pod.
I'm already sweating. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm so sweaty.
I'm sweating like crazy.
Yeah, but it's part of your charm.
It's part of my health conditions.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that.
What's today's topic? Today's topic that I'm brainwashing you with.
You were teaching me about something called body positivity.
Something called body positivity. Mm-hmm. I love body positivity. It's let's go through what it is.
Okay, what is body positivity? Explain it to me.
I'm gonna explain it in the simplest of terms, mostly from my ass and Wikipedia. That's where that research has been done. So it seems to have started during the corsetting movement of like the 1800s. It was like the first wave feminist issue. Mm. It was a lot of women.
Oh, it was like anti-corsets?
Anti-corsets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, people.
Well, I'm already against it. I'm just kidding.
I mean, a lot of these bitches in these fucking body shapers are really... We're going back to corsets, but
corset culture has not left us.
Corset culture has never left us.
So this originated.
So it originated with that, with some 1800s, white feminism, first wave white feminism. Mm-hmm. That was like their most pressing issue, I guess. I'm kidding.
I mean, it is, right? That's kind of like foot binding for white women is corsets.
But except corseting was for everyone. It's just that,
Oh, men as well?
No, also black women, also, but not as much because they were usually being too busy being oppressed to like lace up all that shit. Yeah, they were doing it for other white women. They couldn't do it for themselves. Yeah. So that's where it started. And then there was another wave of it in the 60s that was, focused again on, reclaiming your body not as something to be, beheld and objectified. Mm-hmm. Then there was hold on, I'm missing a wave. I'm missing a wave. There was another wave. There was another wave started by okay, yes, no, it was the same. In the 60s, the fat acceptance movement. That was when the fat acceptance
That was in the 60s?
That was in the 60s.
Okay.
That was the ending of fat shaming. But there was something I did not know about. It was actually one of the biggest things called, a fat-in. Biggest body positivity.
A fat-in?
It was called a fat-in.
Where
and
was
it? Was
it
started by
KFC? Sorry, it's terrible. Terrible.
This is how we get and I promise you won't get as many mean comments as I promise, no matter what.
I'm working for it out here.
You should be, but it's just people are not trying to argue with a man. Whenever
fair.
Whatever, we'll get into it. So it was actually started by a dude, a radio host named Steve Post. He started the Fat-In, and that was like in 1967. Yeah, I'm assuming.
Okay.
Or he was an ally, and that was like one of those big explosive fat acceptance events.
See,
that brought it to the public
my
eye.
understanding of body positivity was about fat acceptance, I think.
Yes, that's sort of because that's where it's kind of started in the 60s,
right.
And then in the 90s with the, remember the heroin chic movement and everything with the models.
Kate Moss.
Yeah. They were all looking like they were dying.
Right.
And so then again, there were people screaming about body positivity, hoping that we can accept our bodies for what it was. Right. And then again, another movement, another wave, which I think is the one that most people today are familiar with in the 2010s, where it was really like body positivity was the term that was used, and it was extended past just fatphobia and into many different directions. And I still think it should be extended more. I think if we expanded that umbrella, I think more people would understand the need.
Well, what is the basic thing that's being advocated for with that movement?
Well, basically stop judging ourselves and valuing our bodies based on our appearances, based on like what other people we're very centrist, very look central culture.
Sure,
right?
We're superficial.
We're a very superficial culture. Thank you for that word. I was fucking.
It's okay. You're high.
I hit the vape, so I shouldn't have hit the vape. I hit it too hard. I sucked on it a little too hard.
It's
and I'm
okay.
like, what happened? We're very look-centric. We're a very superficial culture. We do judge people by a certain standard of beauty that on purpose excludes most people. So, I think learning to appreciate our bodies outside of how they're valued and perceived by these standards, outside of those standards.
Okay, so let me ask you something. I think I understand what this movement's about. When I was growing up in gym class and at our schools in general, we had something called like the Presidential Fitness Day or whatever.
God, I always forget how old you are. I remember that was a Simpsons episode.
Right. So is that something that they would be against?
No, that's different, right? Right. Well, I don't know actually, because it's all about like, can you climb a rope?
Well, I don't know.
Can you serve in the army? I'm against that.
Okay, well, here's the thing, right? And I know this is where it gets spicy, the discourse, because there is a correlation of obesity between obesity and morbidity, right?
Wait. Before we get into this debate,
okay, I don't know if it's. I'm just asking. Right?
Before we get there. We'll get there. We're getting spicy, but first, let's talk about our personal connections to body positivity.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I went through phases, like, as a kid where obviously everybody's like, don't be fat, right? That's always the thing is like, don't be fat. You're mocked if you're fat. Yeah. You're not if you're not, right? And so I grew up, and I think every boy goes through like a bit of a chubby period, or a lot of boys go through a chubby period. And when I did, I would get made fun of, and then I come out of the chubby period. And I remember being my older brother was an athlete. I was never really into sports at all, but I was really into my brother, I loved my brother. And so my brother used to lift weights in the basement and stuff like that. And I was like, I want to be like him. I want to be strong. And then I started to get into martial arts a little bit in high school. And so fitness was part of that, right? And I had a punching bag, and flexibility was a big part of that. I don't know how much of it was, I don't know if it was ever something I had to think about, because I was never naturally obese or naturally too skinny, because I know that's the other end of it, is people who are very skinny. I've had friends who had to take growth hormones and shit.
Yikes,
because they were so skinny and thin and short and whatever, right?
Okay, yeah, I've seen that, yes.
So I've never had to have any real relationship to it. I have always wanted to avoid being fat myself. I don't want to be fat. I do have some some held notions about how I want to look and how I want my body to look.
Yeah.
I don't always live up to those standards. It's very difficult. Right now I'm in a down phase. I actually have a few more pounds than I'd like. And yeah, I mean, that's what it is for me. I think people should, if they want to be accepting of who they are, they should. But you know, I don't know. That's my experience with body positivity is that, right?
Is what is not body positivity.
Well, it's just like, it's like I don't just accept how my body is at any given moment.
No, see, this is the thing. Okay, also, I'm just realizing we should have had somebody fat on this podcast to really discuss this. I'm realizing now.
I'm fat. Let's talk about it.
No, there are going to be some gaps. We'll do a part 2 to this one.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll do a part 2. We'll find somebody who can take us to task. But I think there's also a degree of, I mean, you know me. You know, I have a huge struggle with my weight. And I have been, I've been up and down, like basically my whole life. And I've definitely internalized the don't be fat. Don't be fat. It's the worst thing you can be.
Okay, can I ask you something? This is going to sound a little bit culturally ignorant.
Okay.
And this is it's something that proliferates in the media, and you hear.
Okay.
Is that black people have a different relationship to? Okay.
No.
You rolled your eyes.
No, speak it.
It's just something that I'm curious about.
No, speak it. You're
right. Is that black people have a different relationship to fatness than, let's say, white people, right? And you can arguably say that I grew up in white culture because I grew up in Central PA.
Yes. No.
Right.
There's some truth to that. There's 100% some truth to that. Especially because, listen, let's just be real. White standards of beauty have almost always, other than, you know, periods of the Rubenesque and the, you know, the curvy 60s type.
Yeah, I mean, beauty standards have always changed.
They've always
changed,
right? They've always changed. But I think I'm just going to speak from the perspective of a black woman, black cis woman, femme-presenting cis woman as well. Like, I think for that is different from white cis femme-presenting women. I think there's a difference definitely with our relationship with fatness and our bodies and thickness. That is now, those lines are blurring, right? Thanks to the Kardashians. Or
truly.
Thanks Kardashians. It's changing. It's not getting healthier necessarily at all. But it's definitely changing. But it's still women, I think, even black women, yes, we have certain body positivity icons, and I think we were ahead of the game in that regard for a very long time.
Who were the icons?
Monique, you know.
Oh, you're right.
Talk about, you know what I mean? You know, it's literally like but there's, okay. I'm gonna try not to be offensive.
Oh shit!
I'm gonna try not to be offensive, and you know what?
I hope you fail.
I think if you have every right to take me to task for this. You have every right to take me to task for this. But there is a part of me that feels, because the media representations of black women have usually been mammy coded. And often you know what mammy is?
I know mammy, like the nursemaid or whatever. Mammy, that character, like, especially
Gone with the Wind. Exactly, Gone with the Wind, Bombshell. Literally, like, if you see a black woman with a speaking role in a film, usually she's either a mammy or she's playing a mammy without being a mammy, and usually that means that her body is outside of the standards of beauty that we all know exist and that everyone else in the show is adhering to strictly. And the black woman is often the larger one, and she's very sexually explicit. And you know what? I'm a relatively big sexually explicit black woman, and I think it was a lot for me to accept both of those things about myself. Because that seemed to be the only media representation that was allowed, and it was often mocking. You know what I mean?
But so you didn't watch like black movies or black TV shows where that was, I watched
all the black movies and black TV shows, and they were always making fun of a fat black woman.
Really?
Friday?
Friday. Did they make fun of fat black women in
yes.
Friday?
Oh, he's talking to that girl the whole time. She's like, I look like Janet Jackson, and it's
bitch, more like Freddie Jackson.
Yes, that's right. And it's Andell from the Parkers.
Right.
Before that, and then even things like fucking
Nell Carter,
Nutty Professor.
Give me a break.
No, okay.
The thing is, Nell Carter was kind of hot.
I know her name.
Yeah, it's an old ass.
I know her name.
That was even a little bit before my time.
Okay, I'm sorry. And I usually know those references because I watch Nick at Night religiously, so I'm kind of. I feel bad for my gap in that gap.
It's okay.
Nick at Night education.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. But then there was, you know what I mean? Like there were even and it wasn't just black media, but it was a lot in black media. But also one of my favorite movies was Happy Gilmore. I mean, not Happy Gilmore.
Billy Madison.
You want
me to take my shirt off for you?
Exactly. Ooh, my snack pack. I used to love that movie.
That is hilarious.
But I have to say,
the offer's on the table, baby.
When but that's the problem. Like that's the joke. The joke is that a large black woman could be sexually explicit and you know what I mean. It's both tropes. It's the Jezebel trope and the Mammy trope.
I saw it as a trope of she was just a very horny woman.
It's a common black, and it's also the only representation of any black women in that entire movie. And I watched that movie all the time. And
but does there need to be more representation of black women in Billy Madison?
Yes, yes,
it's Billy Madison.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing, though. It's like that. Those things are everyone consumes that. It's not just for white boys,
right?
But it is mainstream media.
Well, I guess you're right. If white culture is the predominant culture,
then you know what I mean. I mean, of course, that defeats the purpose, which is why it's so hard to get decent black representation in the media. Because the whole point of it is to be the dominant culture and claim white dominance. Like I think I'm my father's child. I'm my father's child. I have a conspiratorial mind. I do believe, because it's one of those things when you first notice it, like you don't notice it, you go through your whole life not noticing it, and then when someone explains it to you, you start seeing it everywhere.
Well, hold on. Rewind for a second.
Yeah.
So what is the actual quote conspiracy theory?
The conspiracy theory is that there is no, not even just positive, but just like human complex portrayals of black women, genuinely, unambiguously black women, as beautiful.
Well, hold on. Define that. What's it?
Unambiguously black, like
not mixed race.
Yeah, she don't look. She's not light skinned. She don't got she don't got like the hair that lays. She's a black woman.
Right.
She's a black woman. There's nothing you can't deny that she is a black woman. She's not exotic, right? It's so rare to get like a representation of that, and even some of that is my own stuff, because often I think like, why are there no unfortunately, and I don't even fit into this, but thin, dark-skinned black women who are seen as desirable and even promoted as desirable in media, like on the TV, in the movies. You know what I mean? You don't see that. And when you do see black women, they are large. They are overtly, hilariously sexual. Like even Parks and Recs. And I love Parks and Recs. And I love Donna.
Oh, right. Yes, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. Remember.
And I love Donna. But like it falls into that trope. And it's a continuous thing. And it happens so often that you kind of don't notice until you notice. And then you start, it's like Memento. You just start, oh my God, you know what I mean? You notice it everywhere. You're like, holy shit, this whole time.
I want to see it like a new version of Memento where it's just somebody piecing together all the large black women that they've ever seen, and that they're all the same person.
They're all the same person. It's the same, and it's doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from a very racist history. Having said that, and I think part of that is why I am so also, yes, being cognizant of that is something, but I think, why did Siri just started listening to the conversation.
I hear that's happened sometimes. See,
and this is why.
You know why? Because Siri's a black woman. She was like, who's talking about me? Siri is an obese black woman. That's why she just turned on.
Have you ever heard Siri? And the way I cuss Siri out, she ain't black.
I know.
She ain't black. No, like, once, and I think, yes, that is true. That is undeniably true. But I think that also feeds into white culture's view that black people, especially black women, don't have any problem being fat because they see hilariously fat, over-sexualized black women all the time on TV. But and it means that black women with eating disorders of all shapes and sizes get extremely overlooked when it comes to seeking treatment. So like this is like one of those examples of a small thing.
So you mean like if like a larger black woman went into the doctor and they're like, hey, I need help. They'd be like, what are you talking about? You're hilarious. You're perfect.
Kind of.
Okay.
Kind of.
You're giving us so much joy right now. Okay. No, I won't give you any dick.
They would literally, like, you don't know nothing about birth and no babies,
right?
But you for sure definitely don't have anything that. I mean, that's true of all medical conditions, specifically for black women. They do not like to treat black women in the medical system. I have experienced that myself.
Right. Yeah, I've heard. I've heard all about that.
Oh God, we should have a talk about that. But so I can't really speak so much to fat phobia other than the internalized fat phobia that I experience and the moments of fat phobia that I experience in the world. But even my worst interactions with fat phobia personally are not going to be as bad as somebody who's larger than I am. You know what I mean? Who is who's like.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't present as obese though.
Like not obese, you look. But I'm definitely overweight, and I'm definitely. I mean, I claim that I am fat, and I go through.
That's how you identify as fat?
You identify as fat.
Could a skinny person identify as fat? Sorry, it's a dumb question. This is such a so stupid.
Do you identify as an attack helicopter? Is that where we're going with this podcast?
Sometimes I do.
Whatever works.
I actually do identify as sometimes.
But no, like, I mean, like, and I've gone through changes in my body where, like, I was very thin. I was once a size 4.
Why do you seem so happy about that?
Because internalized fat phobia.
What is fat phobia?
I mean, fear. People always are like fear of fat people, and I think that's like an incomplete definition. I think the real fat phobia is a fear of being fat.
It's a fear of being fat. Look, there's no denying that there is contempt. It's not goes beyond
deep
fear.
Contempt, yeah.
There's like extreme contempt for obese people.
Yes.
Yes. But here's my contention with it, God. Right? No, I mean, listen. It's like, okay, does that suck for fat people? Yes, but is that something that can really even be? We live in a particular time where there is a certain beauty standard and a certain standard of what it means to have a certain kind of body, and we know that that's something that is always constantly in flux and changes over time, based on so many factors, all the way from economics to whatever, probably climate and all that, right? Yes. So it's just like. That's where we're at.
Fat people get literally like discriminated against, though. Like anything that moves to the point of discrimination.
So describe what. So there's different kinds of discrimination. There's
job discrimination.
Okay. There's like, hey, we didn't hire her because we don't want a fat woman in here. But then there's like, I don't want to date an obese woman.
Look. I think...
Like, is that discrimination?
I mean, it is discrimination, but it's a type of discrimination that is so personal that, like, what are you going to do?
Right.
Like, that's not going to... But I would say if you are the kind of person who says, I don't want to date a fat person, I would at least interrogate why that is. You know what I mean?
Look, it's a good question because... I've definitely had great sex with a couple fat people.
Ooh, I've had some of the juiciest pussy in my life.
Okay.
Fat pussy.
So, I will say that, but you know what? There's an adage that, a lot of men will say where it's like, trigger warning, this is an offensive joke.
Woman.
No. Trigger warning, this is an offensive joke. God. Sam, tell me if you've heard this before. right? That straight dudes will say. Sam's like, I've heard it. He's like, oh, I know. Sam's got 5 or 6 of them locked and loaded right now.
Not with you're holding your onion in the back. I know you're not saying nothing about that body fat ass.
So the joke is, why is a fat woman like a moped?
Oh God, no.
Because they're fun to ride, but you would never want to see your friend. You would never want your friends to see you on one. I'm not saying it's a good joke.
No, I've heard that joke.
But there's an implicit. There's a couple of things going on in that joke.
Speak it, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Which is that people are acknowledging that actually there is something attractive.
Yes.
About fucking a fat woman.
Yes, but that the real issue is that how you are perceived when you are with a fat person.
Exactly. And so what is that other narrative that's there that doesn't allow you to be openly fucking a fat chick? And that it's like you don't want a fat chick on your arm when you're walking around town.
Well, and I think this is I don't think this is only for cis het men. I think this is a big issue in the queer community, a huge issue in the queer community actually, even though we are better about it.
Okay, but here's the other question. Okay.
So I haven't even finished my sentence.
Sorry.
Wait. No, wait.
You're right.
No, let me finish. All right. So like I think a lot of particularly cis het men, and I know I've studied them, okay? I've studied them like Jane Goodall. And so
you sit at the Buffalo Wild Wings observing them.
I'm at Dave and Buster's. Just with a notepad. No. A lot of cis het men, I think, aren't really in touch with their own sexual preferences and their own sexuality because so much of it hinges on presentation, on how they look to other cis het men. And I think like that's the same reason why a lot of people are like, oh, I fuck black girls, but I would never date one, right? It's the same thing.
Why did you give that person a black accent? Okay,
because of my
problematic.
Because of my problem. I mean, because I've heard that from black men.
Oh shit!
Okay. I've heard that from black men. I've heard it from white men a lot, but it hurts more when you hear it from black men. Yeah. Even if it's like I don't date you, but like, damn, you know. Like I think that is because you want a trophy on your arm. People view their specifically cis het men view their partners not as partners but as accessories, as something to make them look good, right? They don't really see the women that they're with as really anything other than as something that like makes them look better. Worse.
Well, you could say it's reductive to say that that's all they would look at. And I'll say this from my perspective.
Making a huge, massive generalization. Oh my God.
I will say this except because look, I am a straight cis had all the terms for what I am. I
love that you didn't say man. You said everything but man.
For what I am. But I've dated women and I've been attracted to the women and I like the women for anything. And I also will like how they look on my arm. Yeah, it's like you're right. There is a status thing there, but status is not something that is only exists within the domain of men and masculinity.
No, not at all. Not at all. But when we're talking about looks, that is when we're talking about looks being something, the look of your partner being the thing that determines your status. That feels not exclusively cis het male, but it's y'all shit.
Sure, but there's all kinds of markers, social markers.
Everybody does
that maybe their appearance, maybe their money, maybe they're this, maybe they're that.
For sure. But we're talking about appearance right now. Because we're talking about body positivity.
Fair.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this though: does the same courtesy get extended to fat men?
What do you mean? Yes. You know? Yes, it should be. It should be extended past just fatness, and it should be extended to. And I'm guilty of this. I make small dick jokes all the time. Some of our commenters have heard me say small dick jokes, and I'm trying to change.
They've heard it because you've made small dick jokes to them. Yes.
Yeah. You come for me, you best not miss. I'm gonna talk about your mangled micro penis. But I can also acknowledge that making those jokes is extremely body negative. It's not fair. That's a part of yourself that you can't change. And I love small dicks.
Okay, interesting.
Small dick. I love a dick that's just like a large clit. I do. I really do. It's
Sam, that's not offensive.
Sam's not listening. Sam does not know. There's out of any. Sam has never listened to this podcast. Sam sits here all the time.
I mean, so saying that you like a dick, that was a joke that most men would find offensive.
That's stupid. If you find that offensive,
you know it is.
Why?
You can't do any intellectual backbending.
Why is that offensive?
Why is it?
Why is it preferring a small dick offensive?
Well, the way you phrase it, like it's like a big clit.
Well, I mean, a lot of that's what dicks are, by the way.
I'm not denying the physiology of a.
I love a dick that's like a giant clit. I do, and I also love a giant clit. That's really what I like.
Okay,
but like,
okay, but fat men do not get they're accorded. It's not something that's just in the domain of women.
What? Are you kidding me?
What, dude? How many times have you seen a fine ass? Actually, you know what? Think about that.
A lot on TV.
You know what? let's take Insecure, right? The show.
Yeah.
Incredible show. Issa Rae, she's getting good dick from a very funny comic who I love, Reggie Conquest.
Yes.
That's the boy right there.
The security guard.
Yeah, Reggie Conquest, great New York comedian. Everyone should check him out. Okay, he plays the fat dude who gives her good dick, but she doesn't take him out on the town.
Because he's dumb.
She's not trying to show him off.
Because he's dumb. But in that same show, Molly dates a fat man played by, what's his name? What's his name?
I didn't realize that.
He's a really good comic, and he's a lawyer. Right. And they date openly. Right. And she thinks about moving to Chicago and changing her law firm to be with him, but I forgot what happened. And they fuck, and she brings him out, and she likes him.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Generally speaking, I'm sorry. The discrimination really does go both ways.
I am 100%, you are 100% right, but it doesn't go both ways as much because women are more prized for their appearance. Mm-hmm. And that is only, like, women's primary job a lot of the times is to be attractive based on certain
How many times have you seen a fine-looking woman?
Many times. With a fat man?
With a very fat man who doesn't have money.
Well, how many times have you seen a fine-looking woman with any man who don't have money? I mean.
All the fine-ass women I've been with.
But I don't. That's cute. I just think it is certainly a problem. I think there's definitely fat phobia within all communities. It was a cute joke. But I think there's no denying it's not to the degree that fat women face. There's just no like especially in media representation.
Right. Well, we're also talking about America.
Yeah,
it's a very specific place. Probably Europe as well is also similar. But you're right. There was the Rubenesque period where fat pussy was all the rage.
Yes,
the Renaissance gals.
Yes. Bring it.
Venus coming out of the sea foam.
That was
a bunch of dudes come.
That's right. She wasn't even that big, but
she wasn't. You're right.
but the actual Reuben girls, they were big. Mm-hmm. But I also want to say,
you know why they were called that? They ate a lot of Reuben sandwiches. No, people don't know this fact, but it's true.
No, that's not it. And then somebody's gonna quote
She's a bit Rubenesque. She had one Reuben too many.
Is the Reuben sandwich based off of the painter?
I can't imagine. I would have to imagine it's some crotchety old Jewish guy in a deli who invented it.
Yes, fair enough. But I would like to speak on body positivity.
Reuben.
Shut up. Past.
Reuben, fix me another one of those sandwiches. Sam, is this offensive?
Yes.
He just pops his head up and says yes, whatever.
Reuben.
Okay.
Want another one of those sandwiches.
I want to, especially because I feel like we don't really have the authority to speak so much on fat phobia, but I also think we need to extend body positivity past fatness and toward our bodies itself, right? Because I think I've had an experience with body positivity. I have my joke about body positivity, about my long titties.
Long-ass titties.
About my long-ass titties. And that is how I kind of got into body positivity, is through seeing other women's tits. There was this website that was just like the tits that aren't.
Are you talking about Pornhub?
No, it was just a website where...
Is this your first encounter with porn? I discovered this magical body-positive website.
I wish.
Filled with titties.
I wish. Although I have seen better representation of titties like mine in porn than I have ever seen on like Showtime.
Well, that's the thing. That is the egalitarian nature of porn, is you go on any porn site and look, hear me out.
Egalitarian is pushing it?
Well, in the sense that you go there and you can find whatever you want. And they acknowledge, for the purposes of money, of capitalism, that all kinds of tastes exist.
Yes.
And thus you can find them there.
Yes.
And it is to their profit and benefit.
I will say, and I know we have the Crash Pad series, and I know we have like certain things.
What is Crash Pad?
Crash Pad is a queer porn series by, oh God, I forgot.
Wow,
the name
there's
of the
attributions
director.
in queer porn?
Yes.
Like it's art?
Yes. There's like a whole series. And I know we have our queer porn, but sorry, some of y'all are weird. Sometimes I have to skip past a lot of like titty punching and weirdness. But yes.
Ooh.
Yes. But
Titty punch. That sounds like a kind of hatred towards the mother.
it's weird. It's a weird thing. I will say they're better.
Oh, they're punching their own titties.
No, they're punching each other's titties.
Oh, now you got me thinking this could be like a new MMA franchise.
I will send you a link. I will send you a link.
Okay.
See, the thing is, you can see, like, I like masculine people. I like people who are masculine, etc. I like the studs. I like the butch. I like the non-binary people. I like people with different gender presentations.
Yeah,
and it's
interesting.
hard.
You like two polar opposites. You like the studs who have like the braids, maybe wear a tank top, got some neck tats, probably a razor blade under their tongue or under their lip. Yes. And then the other one is like Waldo.
Yes.
You know,
100%.
Non-binary Waldo.
Yes. Yep.
Trans mask Waldo. Where is Sheria's trans mask Waldo?
Where is Sheria's trans mask Waldo?
We need to make a book out of that.
We need to make a
it's got to be all
show.
the spaces that you're in. K-pop concerts. You know.
They're very rarely, but sometimes they are at the K-pop concerts.
That's why they're hard to find.
They're hard to find. But like that because I saw there was this website and it was like women sending in or people sending in their pictures of their titties that didn't look like titties that you see everywhere, and like I used to think I was deformed. I used to
because
think
of your tits.
Yes, because they didn't look like they never looked like Pam Anderson's.
Right,
You know
right,
what I
right.
mean?
The
They didn't
flotation
look anything.
devices.
Those are totally different species.
Right.
It's Pam's titties and my titties. You know what I
Right.
mean? So do I am I fucked up? And seeing like, oh, actually, these are very standard titties. Like there's lots of titties.
Understanding what is a normal titty.
Exactly.
Well, look, the same thing happens with dicks. You know what I mean?
100%.
And because if you do, as a dude, you watch porn, you're like, I need a fucking monster cock, apparently. But then you start looking at data, and that's the only place you really find the representation for dudes, actually.
There's a documentary series and art project called My Penis and Me. Check it out. It actually delves into that.
If there's a lot of penises in it, I probably won't watch it.
But it's good for you. You should watch it.
Yeah. But you read data and you're like, oh, okay, I'm actually average. I'm normal, or I'm above average, or whatever it is.
Men are always so concerned with size and not about, just like general appearance of the penis.
My dick looks like Brad Pitt. It's not gigantic, but it looks like Brad Pitt.
Which
has
Brad
the face
Pitt?
of Brad Pitt.
Twink Brad Pitt or bloated gross Brad
Benjamin
Pitt?
Buttons Brad
Benjamin
Pitt.
Button Brad Pitt. That's a good Brad Pitt. That's a quality Brad Pitt. Talented Mr. Ripley Brad Pitt. That's a good dick.
Wait, was he in that movie?
Talented Mr. Ripley?
That's Matt Damon.
That's Matt Damon. I'm
Confusing
sorry.
white boys.
I'm so sorry, white men. I have white male friends. None in this room. Sorry, Sam. Okay.
Sam is your white friend.
Sam is my white friend.
But Sam is Semitic.
You keep saying that like Jewish people can't be white, and it's very strange.
I'm just saying, there's some... Sam, do you want to weigh in on that?
Can Jewish people be white?
Would have saved my relatives a lot of trouble back in 1933 if we were white.
Boom. Boom. Yeah, he just pulled the ultimate card on you.
I don't think so.
That's the ultimate of all the Uno reverse cards, all the identity politic cards.
I don't know about that.
I know about that.
I don't know about
Sure
that.
is like it didn't happen.
It's all revealed.
I will say yes. Okay, no, Jewish people were not white in the 30s when it would have really been helpful.
Yeah,
but they are white now, and so
well,
Irish people weren't white for a minute. But you're gonna look an Irish
people?
person in the face and say that's a person of color.
It's of a certain kind of color, but yeah,
red and white.
Yeah,
it's
true.
Whiteness changes. People get in and out of the club.
All of these things, all physicality and how we perceive it is always in
flux.
It's
all fake. It's all nonsense. It's all just made up.
It's not made up.
It's all made up.
It's just contingent.
It's all made up. It's all nonsense that we came up with because of reasons.
It's contingent because it changes over time. We know that.
I don't think black people in Africa were ever like, we're black. Those people over there, they didn't have any conception of that. And if somebody came in with a different skin tone, they were just a person of a different skin tone. A lot of cultures were just all homogenous, racially homogenous. So we didn't conceive of race in those ways.
Like when I think about Indian ways of perceiving Indian bodies over time, it's pretty interesting. Like you see, like in old ancient statues and stuff that come from South Asia, the women are extremely curvy, always.
Yes.
And the men are kind of caked up too.
Yes.
Right? Those are the really old depiction. But then you go through different periods, Mughal periods, this period, that period. Now when you read like an Amar Chitra Katha, that's the like Indian comic book, standard Indian comic book series, right?
Standard Indian comic book
in the sense that like they do a lot of stuff about, it's
a comic book series based on like classic Indian.
Based on just Indian culture. So it'll have stories about everybody, the Mughals, the ancient Hindu stuff, blah, 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 right? There's a lot of depictions of Indianness. But then you'll see the way the deities are portrayed in that. It's like actually all the male heroes, they're not necessarily big barrel-chested dudes. They're actually quite lithe, almost feminine, hairless, really just put together but sharp,
Somebody who drew that particular iteration loved twinks.
Okay.
That's like literally all it is. That's all it is. He wanted some high booty twinks to represent masculine beauty. That's why it goes through all
twink
these
culture is big in India,
yes.
Indian mythology.
I mean, you and I both love the same Indian twink.
He's not a twink, dude. He's not. He's a big grown man. The act out you were doing of my best friend the other day of him prancing around and tight little body. He's a big boy now. It's so funny.
He's a tiny booty twink and he knows it.
We can't get back into this right now. Right, okay, you have such an S.A.'er's eye. No. Okay.
I just know
he's a high booty twink and he loves it. He's gonna love it.
He loves it and he lives for it.
Oh my
he
God.
be walking around like,
yeah, this is my impossibly hot co-host of my other podcast.
Wow. Excuse me. I'm possibly hot.
Huh?
I'm plausibly hot.
Well, I'm say he looks like a Gucci model or something. He does, that's his vibe.
Yeah. She serves face. She serves face. Face card never declines.
Okay. So body positivity is accepting all this. Do you think there's a point where you should not accept your body?
No. I believe, but don't always practice. I believe in, but don't always practice radical acceptance. I think we should radically accept our bodies, even when they are at their unhealthiest or whatever, even when they are sick bodies, even when our bodies are dying, even when our bodies need attention, in order to give it the attention that it deserves and the love that it deserves, we have to accept our bodies. And I think it should extend even like, I dealt with the body positivity issues with my tits and I am dealing with it now currently. Even though it's still like, when I was going through my health issues with my fibroids and all these surgeries and all these hormones and stuff, my body changed. My pussy stopped being fat. You know what I mean? My pussy got thin. She getting fatter a little bit.
That's not good, right?
I liked having a fat pussy, but it's good either way.
Right.
She's the same brand new look, same great taste.
Yeah.
So I say she's fine how she is, but it took me a minute to recognize that is everybody's body is going to change in some way.
Definitely.
It's never going to be. And so having these perceptions of our bodies is having value only based on certain standards of beauty.
You brought up a concept, radical acceptance. Yeah. That is, to me, where is the room for, isn't growth something to value though?
You can't have growth without acceptance. Because if you deny and hate something about your body, it's not a great way to it's not going to help you heal it, right? If your body needs healing, you have to accept it for what it is. Okay, but
if I'm like, hey, listen, me having bitch tits isn't going to be, you can't accept them. You have to start doing butterfly curl, presses and stuff like that.
But okay, so maybe that works for you, and I think I have a degree of that where like if I hate myself enough, it will motivate me to do something. But also, if I hate myself, I often get discouraged. I get discouraged because they're like, what if you do everything and it still doesn't go away?
Right.
A lot of men have that. A lot of men have I mean, that's an extreme situation, but a lot of men have gynecomastia. But some men just have titties. You know what I mean? Some men just have, some nice titties.
Right.
Something to grab.
Yeah.
And maybe you could do as many curls as you want, and that shit ain't gonna change. Yeah. Does that mean you have to hack your body up? Does it mean you're not okay as a person? It means you don't have value anymore, that you're not sexy, that you're not lovable, that your body isn't desirable?
So these things, to me, these concepts live in an abstract space as opposed to a space that's dealing with reality in the world that we live in and a sexual marketplace that men are involved with, right?
Marketplace.
I know. Listen, I'm not saying... Listen, say what you want about it, right? I'm just talking, and I'm speaking as a dude.
Capitalist.
Absolutely.
As a capitalist.
Right? Sure, yes. But you're as much you have standards for certain.
I do.
Beauty as well, but I'm talking about, and you also are like, well,
for my own personal, like who I'm attracted to personally.
Yeah.
But yes, I certainly do have like a type. I have things that I'm attracted to.
So that's a genre of a thing, and that's
thing not. It doesn't mean that people. It doesn't mean like if I see a femme in the street, I'm like, boo, nasty. Ew, shave that fucking head.
Hilarious.
That's gross.
So goddamn funny if you did.
Like I'm not, you know what I mean? That's just I because I prefer something.
So look, putting aside actually even the whole sexual marketplace thing, right?
Please God, let's all put it aside.
Let's put it aside. Like there is something.
Stop buying pussy.
There are relationships. You against sex work now? Anyway,
you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're not really buying it. You're leasing it, but still, in a just society, at
stop
least.
renting. Okay, I'm sorry. No. That's not what I meant by that. I just meant stop viewing our bodies as a capitalist.
Now, late stage capitalism we're in. Who can afford pussy these days?
Exactly. I mean, I'm saying, who can afford strap these days? Strap is actually legitimately expensive.
Okay.
You lesbians really want to have sex outside of the confines of capitalism? What are we going to do with the straps?
Right. It's an economic.
It needs a marketplace.
Thing.
Yeah.
But there are health issues too, right? If you go to the doctor and the doctor, I've heard people be like, here's one thing. Here's my only familiarity with the whole body positive thing is I'll see like fat influencers who will make memes or whatever about going to the doctor, and the doctor's like, lose weight. And they'll be like, nah, why is everything about, but you can't deny that obesity has certain correlations with morbidity.
For sure. So there can be health issues with obesity that are inherent with obesity, but it is a huge problem for fat women with other health issues. They go to the doctor and they say, hey, I've been having migraines, and they're like, you need to lose weight. And then we find out that she had a brain tumor, right? Or there was just recently I saw a woman.
Tumors are related to more obesity, though.
Okay, but that's not only related to obesity. Not everybody who gets a tumor is fat. But there was a woman who had massive ovarian cysts, and she was complaining about the pain that she was getting and the discomfort. And for 10 years, she went to the doctor, and they only told her to lose weight.
That's a horrible thing.
And it turned out she had a massive tumor that once she had removed, it took a few pounds off. And like that is a legitimate problem. That is medical.
Okay, but is that the exception or is that the rule?
That seems, if you speak to fat people who go to the doctor, that seems to be the rule.
Well, I know it's the rule that oftentimes when fat people go to the doctor will be like, you need to lose some weight.
They'll be like, my fucking leg is bleeding. And they're like, lose that weight. Lose that weight. I have gangrene.
I just got shot.
Please. You should lose some
weight. Well,
weight.
The cheeserburgers.
Do some fucking, do some jumping jacks. Maybe that hole will close up a little bit. Like, it really is
cardio.
Like that. It really is like that. I totally, I hear so many stories of that. And that is an impediment to a safe and healthy body. That's the opposite of what you want. And sure, you can be like, let's suggest. I always get a suggestion to exercise and work out more because everyone should do that, right? I think we've brought her up on every single episode, but Kat, you've seen how Kat eats. She's disgusting.
I don't know how Kat eats.
Oh, yeah, she's disgusting.
Kat is like a mythological. She might actually
be my imaginary friend.
I was going to say, yes.
I think she might be my imaginary friend.
For all we know.
She eats.
It's like your alter ego.
She is. She's like my small lesbian. She's not even a lesbian. She's getting some dick lately. Good for her. Mazel tov. she eats garbage. Like, I have to force feed her Brussels sprouts on a regular basis. Ooh. And like, she's better now because she was having like problems with her health. Like, she was having like iron deficiency issues and things like that because she like only ate like cheeseburgers. She only ate cheese and beef for like forever. Yeah. And no one has ever said anything about her disgusting diet except for me because I'm worried for her. And that's
okay. So this is something I want to talk about: a disgusting diet. That's another thing that I've seen. I've seen influencers who are like, "Don't let people tell you can't eat Twinkies." You know, and you see stuff.
You can eat Twinkies.
And then you know what happened? They came out recently. Some guy who used to work as a lobbyist for the food and bev industry came out and was just. You saw this?
No.
And he was like, we've gotten paid. And we've paid people to go out and basically talk about how, it's racist for people to say not to eat certain foods like sugary cereals, et cetera, sodas.
TikTokers come from, yes.
Right. And like I went and saw some of these TikTokers and they're getting people who are going to be immediately very much, they seem of a piece and are going to seem immediately familiar to quote woke people, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? They're black women, right? And they're whatever, all the markers.
But at the end of the day, they're capitalists, so they try to get
at the end of the day, they're capitalist neoliberal exploiters.
That's fucking right.
Right?
Yes.
So there has to be some space in the argument. To my mind, there has to be space in the discussion about that. And also about the fact that total acceptance is never always. There has to be some curbs on that.
Okay, so you got me for the first half. You had me in the first half. Okay. I agree that we need to stop like the way we talk about food, and I think sometimes body positivity is co-opted by capitalism always to sell swimsuits and to fucking and to sell fucking Twinkies and shit, for sure. Having said that, there's no use in having shame in the way that you eat. I'm a big shame eater. I love to eat and then shame myself for what I've eaten. Because then I get it's like coming. It's like I'm a bad girl. Oh, she's a bad girl. Like that's my favorite thing to do. It's an unhealthy relationship with food.
That's hilarious
because and that is not necessarily a body positivity thing. That's co-opted by body positivity, but it's a capitalism thing. And I'm going to say it 10,000 times. We have lost the connection with our food because of capitalism. And if we ate in tune with how we were supposed to eat, there would still be fat people, but I don't think we would see the health issues that we see across bodies.
They'd be mighty warriors,
honestly, or they
holders of land.
Yeah, they'd fucking sleep and they'd like fuck and then they go back to sleep. They eat some berries off a fucking
There are
bush.
definitely people who are just like genetically fat, for sure.
Yes,
there's definitely people though who are victims of capitalism.
We are all victims of capitalism.
Sure.
But I think that influencers using their fucking platform to shill for the FDA. And
I mean, those people should be prosecuted.
On the one hand, I agree, but I can't fault a fat black woman for getting a bag. You know what I'm saying? Listen,
but here's why you can though, because a lot of the people that are being inveigled into that lifestyle then of eating horrid are going to be black people. Right? And then you got to talk about stuff like food deserts.
Ooh, you were just about to say
and all that stuff. That stuff affects black people more than it does white people. 100%. That's where the food deserts exist.
But it also it exists in Appalachia as well.
Hundo.
It seriously affects working class white people.
Definitely. And again, though, right? So we're getting to a class issue, 100%. And this is why these people should be prosecuted. Right? Because it's like, listen.
Prosecute the corporations that are giving them the money.
They're all of a piece, though.
Listen, if Twinkies hit us up and was like, enjoy a Twinkie, I would be saying, Twinkies. Okay? Because.
Do you think Twinkies were based on Twinks? Because they're filled with cream, too.
I 100% believe that.
Or is that how Twinks got their name? Because people are like, he's like a Twinkie. When I was done with him, he was like a Twinkie.
That's what I think it colloquially used, but I honestly think the inventor of the Twinkie just blew a load into a tight little white butthole and was like, you know what? This is a great idea for a dessert. Like, I fully believe that. But they erase our history. They erase queer history.
It's so gnarly.
Yes. I mean, I'm just saying, we all have to exist under capitalism. I will shill whatever, not whatever, within reason. But like, I don't think it's necessarily bad to eat a fucking Twinkie. I don't think it's necessarily bad to eat a bag of cheese rolls. But I think your primary diet should be vegetables.
Yeah.
It should be leafy green vegetables.
Well, the problem for me isn't somebody who shills a Twinkie. The problem for me is a person who uses deception and subterfuge and preys on the identity politics of our day to be like, it's actually racist, and these people are racist for saying that you shouldn't eat Twinkies.
Yeah, they suck.
That is like, that's really so toxic.
Yeah, they suck, but you know what? You know who else sucks? Fucking Candace Owens. She also sucks.
Okay,
She's trying to get a bag. Everybody's trying to get a bag.
Different bags. Different bags, different
it's
means,
the same fucking bag. It's coming from probably the same old white man. The same Koch brother is probably signing those checks.
But it's fine. But we're talking about one specific thing in one specific category that's related to one specific topic that we're focused on, right?
It all comes back to capitalism.
We are going to have an episode about
me blaming. I think you should just put
capital reduction.
Put a bunch of topics in a jar and pull it out and see if I can blame it on capitalism.
Oh, I love that game. Oh, I smell a new segment. Oh, I smell a new segment.
I love that. I absolutely, and I'm sure I could.
Oh,
I am my
where Sharia tries to blame it on capitalism.
Yes, I could do it. I could do it. I'm my father's daughter. I know how to do. I could do it.
Oh, brilliant, 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 brillante. Where are we at on time, Sam?
Jesus
what the
Christ.
fuck?
We just been talking. You just let us talk like this?
Do we have time for a problematic phase?
Yes, we do. Let's quickly do a problematic phase. But let's closing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's close this up by saying, this was an extremely incomplete conversation without people of a body type that actually has to whatever. But
we all exist in bodies, and that is a level playing field.
Sure. We're all one
Standards
race.
are always in flux.
We are all one race.
Standards
we all bleed
are contingent.
blue. We all bleed blue.
What the fuck was that?
We all bleed red. Blah blah blah. But we should talk to somebody who is specifically impacted by this issue. This was an oversight on our part.
We're all impacted by the issue.
But we are, and I feel I am particularly impacted by this issue as well. I'm going through my own body positivity journey always, at all times, constantly. Mm-hmm. And I think ultimately we need to extend that to all kinds of things. Extend it to small penises. Shouts to everybody in the comment section who hates me. No, I'm kidding. But for real, and even like trans bodies, like trans men's bodies, sometimes trans men feel like inadequate because their penises are small, and that feeds into that system. I am guilty of feeding into the system.
I don't know enough about it, so I'm not even going to ask. So never mind.
You want to see it? I love a trans dick. I love a trans man's dick. Hit me up, please. Hit me up in the comments. Hit me up in my DMs.
More in the DMs, but yeah, sure, in the comments.
Whatever. Too. If you got a cute, if you find, hit me up. But like that narrative feeds into self-hatred a lot for trans people, so that we should stop. I will make an effort to stop doing that. I will make fun of you for your ashy lips and your bad breath.
Why though?
Because
what's wrong with ashy lips?
You dry. Drink some fucking water. I got ashy lips right now. There's something wrong with it. Let me go
Where's
get some
your sippy
fucking water.
cup?
It's over here, but then there's nothing in it. I didn't fill it up before, I think. So that's why I got ashy lips. The rest of you just need to drink water.
All right, it's time for problematic phase. What do you got for us?
I'm going to do a bit, okay, this is very problematic. This is an extremely problematic fave. I'm going to do a classic Bernie Mac bit.
Oh, bless, yes.
Classic Bernie Mac bit from Kings of Comedy.
Yeah.
We're going to see the Kings.
Yeah, Bernie Mac, he's the Adrienne Marie Brown of straight men.
Wait, who's Adrienne Marie Brown?
I'm surprised. She's like a woke icon. She has a good Instagram account. She posts like lots of nice memes.
I'm not on the internet for memes.
Okay. She wrote a book called We Will Not Cancel Us. It's really more of like a broadside, but yeah.
Okay, I like that. We should have her on the pod. We can't get in touch with her.
We could.
Where's there it is. Okay, here we go. All right. I don't know if we'll be able to put it in here. Okay, hold on. Let's open it. Okay, pause. Here it comes. Okay, so this is trigger warning.
Where is this bit from?
Kings of Comedy. Bernie Mac said in the Kings of Comedy. It's one of the. There we go. So this is a joke where he's talking about his nephew.
Okay.
Who has as he puts it, a stutter, a really bad stutter. And it's very problematic. But also, I have watched Kings of Comedy 100,000 times, and this joke has always made me laugh.
Put it up against the mic.
Okay. And then will you be able to put it in the?
Yeah, he'll PIP it. Sam will PIP it.
A lot of things come along with that. That's why I try to tell my aunt. So I got an auntie. Everybody got somebody in the family.
Sorry, this is too far.
That's what I don't like about it.
Okay, here we go. Sorry, here we go.
We want no.
Sorry.
She treat her kid like they special.
Okay.
She got my little nephew. She at the school bus picking this motherfucker up, and the school directly across the street. He's small, but he stutter real bad. He kind of slow.
Oh my God.
He stutter real. We want no. He one of them type of motherfucker. You know?
Oh my God.
You know I told him go let that motherfucker get looked at. She won't never do it. She don't think nothing wrong with it. He on the corner waiting on the school bus. The school bus pull up, open the door. He walks up, asks a question. Bus driver closed the door and drove the fuck off. Next day, same corner. Brother on the corner, bus driver pulled up, opened the door. He did it again. Bus driver closed the door and drove the fuck off. He ain't got time for this shit here. Oh, he mad now. He go home and tell my auntie, ain't this a bitch? This shit is wrong. I'm going to school with you in the morning. And I wish that bus driver will drive off, but I bet it's going to be some smoke in the city. Oh, she took my little nephew, put him on the corner. She went in the bushes and hid. Pulled up on time, same corner, opened the door. He did it again. Bus driver did like this, closed the door, Monty jumped out. Hold up! Black son of a bitch! What's your damn problem? Deny my son his education. Bus driver jumped off the bus and said, hey. He was teasing me.
Okay,
that is a perfectly crafted bit.
Beautifully crafted.
What is problematic about that?
Everything about that bit is problematic. It is a beautifully crafted bit. It's a great joke from the great, great. Stop! No. That is the problem with the bit. Even though that is such a funny and it's a fire bit and it's a classic, I think we can all acknowledge that mocking people with speech differences like in that way is wrong. Doing it for laughter is wrong. However, it is a great bit. It is a fucking...
Well, why does it make you laugh? Obviously, you were laughing at the impersonation.
I couldn't even look at the impersonation because it makes... No!
So good.
No! Because the thing is, the very thing that makes me laugh about it, I think we can acknowledge that certain things can be wrong and funny at the same time.
He was kind of acknowledging it within the bit,
yes,
if you think about it.
He acknowledges it within the bit, but it's so subtle that I think a lot of people could miss it.
Because the whole point is that this kid was mocking me for my...
Yes, for my...
But we're all sitting there
mocking this kid that we don't know. This person that we don't know that Bernie is like doing a mockery of.
Yeah.
And we could that bit could also be used, could have probably been used to mock some kids with actual stutters and other and
well, that was
like
an actual stutter.
No, but I mean,
right?
like that bit could be like they're probably making that face. They probably if you went to high school in when did Kings of Comedy come out? Like 97, 98?
96.
96 Kings of time it came out?
No, maybe 90.
Nah, it had to be like 98. I remember my mom had it
it's
on.
like 90, 99.
Yeah,
even.
she had it on bootleg DVD, so I know it was like, it had to be like 99. I'm sure if you went to school around that time and you had a stutter, somebody did that bit to you, especially if you grew up in a black neighborhood.
Yeah.
So this is why we talk about things that can actually be great bits, finely crafted, hilarious, but also might have the ability to cause harm, to make people feel excluded, to make people feel hurt. But it is a classic fucking bit.
That's a great bit. That's probably one of the less problematic of Bernie Mac's bits.
Oh yeah, okay, you're right. Here's a milk and cookies. Here's a milk and cookies.
It's a milk and cookies.
I was a milk and him downstairs. Well, bust a move. Bust a fucking move. Oh, I love Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac.
Incredible.
Rest in peace and power to Bernie Mac. But also, I hope he's not doing that joke.
Bernie Mac would be like a Trump supporter right now if he was
No,
alive.
he fucking wouldn't.
We both know he
no,
would be.
He wouldn't.
We both know he would be.
No, he fucking wouldn't. No. He might have done a little Dave Chappelle turn, but I don't think so.
Would it be a turn? Would it be a turn? It seems like a straight line from where he was there all the way through.
It was a different time. He was a 43-year-old black man in 1999. I'm sure he's
a glorious time.
Yeah, no.
A glorious time.
Pre 9/11.
Someone say America peaked right at that moment of that joke.
Yeah. Well, that's why 9/11 happened. I would say Bernie Mac did 9/11 is the what I wanted to leave.
That's what the terrorists were mad about.
What they were.
Bin Laden had a stutter. He was like, "We're going to get this Bernie. Cut that
out. We're ending the podcast here. That's enough. You really
Guys,
you put the semi in semi.
That's that I do because I got a semi right now. That's what I get when I make fun of stutterers. Just kidding. We're all human beings. We all have dignity. We're all worth respect and love and care.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Accept your bodies to an extent.
No,
right?
accept
Come
your
on
bodies
now.
radically.
Come on
accept
now.
all of it. We love you. Please like, subscribe, rate us, review us on Apple or Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts. Get on our Patreon. It should be up by now.
Oh yeah, hit us up on Patreon so that I can get my
early
fucking hair
access to
done.
episodes.
Okay,
And shit like that.
Yeah, we got early access to episodes. Get videos of Pranav reacting to gay porn. We're definitely gonna do that.
That's like a top tier shit.
Yes.
We're gonna have to have at least 10K per month.
Join the SemiWoke mob.
Join the SemiWoke mob ASAP. We love y'all.
We love you. Stay SemiWoke.